Hey, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today to explore how to maximize your potential, leveraging the Microsoft solutions for your not-for-profit. This has been created for the not-for-profit sector and can help your organization scale and make a bigger impact. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land on which we're meeting today, and I also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where each of you are joining from. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples present on the call today. Just a reminder to remain on mute. If you have a question during the presentation, pop it in the chat and we'll leave some time for questions. So thanks for joining us. I'm Terry McKinnon, Marketing Manager at Evolution Business Systems. Joined on the call by Daniel Argus, Professional Services Manager, and from humanIT, we have Founder and Technology Strategist Ian Patterson and Andy Barker, Enterprise Architect and Impact Catalyst. EBS have worked for a number of years with humanIT as our values align to deliver value for not-for-profits leveraging Microsoft technologies. I'd like to start with a question. What does it mean to scale your not-for-profit and leverage Microsoft solutions? To scale your not-for-profit is to boost funding, improve your programs, and expand your reach, but without the ever-increasing costs. When we think about technology and the tools you need to run your business, what we think about is how using technology can maximize efficiencies and minimize costs so that you can deliver your mission and amplify your impact. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Of course, the end goal is impact. But from a technology standpoint, today's not-for-profits face challenges. Broadly speaking, these can be categorised into three main issues. Core technology systems that are disjointed, preventing them from enabling mission-orientated work. Fundraising teams that aren't equipped with the right tools to maximise donations. And all this complexity, coupled with limited resources, makes it hard to adapt quickly. So let's break these down one at a time. First, what does it mean to have a disjointed technology platform? This challenge can show up in many ways. Multiple software programs, paper-based systems that can create data silos that complicate decision-making. Manual workarounds can produce busy work and data entry errors. Disconnected systems can make it hard to collaborate and share information. Building a flexible and scalable technology infrastructure is key to overcoming this challenge. You need to eliminate data silos by uniting your people, processes, and data in a single technology platform. Improve productivity and increase efficiency by getting rid of manual workarounds and paper-based processes. And make it easy to collaborate and share information by using tools that your staff already know and use every day. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central provides seamless integration with other Microsoft offerings like Copilot, Outlook, Excel, Teams, Power BI, CRM, Power Platform, and the breadth of the Microsoft Cloud, while continuing to be modular, extensible, so that you can start with what you need today and adapt as you grow. As you'll see in the coming demonstration, leveraging these technologies brings together your critical business processes into a single solution. This includes everything from financial data, fundraising stats, to donor records. So let's dive in with Andy and Daniel, who show us what can be achieved when you scale to amplify your impact with Donations Plus and Business Central. Over to you, Andy.
Thanks, Terry. I'm just going to share my screen and we'll continue presenting. What we're going to be looking at is the combination of the Power Platform, which is available through your Microsoft 365 license. What we have found is that this is a very powerful low-code or no-code development environment. Many people don't realize what they actually have already. And so we're going to walk through some demonstration of an application that we have built, or a solution that we have built, leveraging the Power Platform. And just walking through the components that are actually part of that Power Platform include Copilot Studio, which allows you to create agents, used to be known as chatbots, which are AI powered, and this is becoming a significant game changer. And some of the things, the demo we're walking through today is not going to focus on that, but in future Lunch and Learn seminars, we will be going through that in greater detail. Power Automate allows you to automate and create workflows. Power Apps, which we'll be demonstrating, allows you to create simple applications. Power Pages, which we'll be demonstrating, gives you the ability to create websites and web portals that are secure and allow you to engage with your constituents externally. Power BI allows you to create dashboards and summarized visualization of your data. Power Effects is a low-code Excel-like function language that allows you to customize and tailor, and it's built into all of the Power Platform. Dataverse is a very significant enterprise-grade database that undergirds everything that we're doing within here. One of the other key things within the Power Platform is the ability to have connectors. Microsoft has more than 1,400 connectors, so it's not just the Microsoft environment, but what we will be demonstrating is the significant value and benefit of the Microsoft ecosystem. Terry touched on the benefits of having a integrated system. And the slide I have here is just to demonstrate, or to kind of give an example of what a lot of organizations that we work with look like. And this may be a representation of where you're currently sitting. The not-for-profits are all looking for the best way to maximize their dollars, their donations, and do that effectively. Many organizations or software vendors provide not-for-profit discounts or free offers. And what we find is that organizations will take that up, and it's fantastic, and they are able to get up and running relatively quickly. They're able to do it for free, but as they start to expand and do more and more things, they begin to recognize that there's actually a struggle with the economy of scale. What ends up happening is they might have a CRM like Insightly or something along that line, and they have all of their contacts in there, but what they're finding out is in order to do a email campaign with MailChimp or something along that line, they need to export their contacts and import their contacts and go back and forth. And it creates a significant amount of manual intervention. They might have a registration now on their Wix website. Again, a separate contact is created that has to then be integrated. And what ends up happening is the person who's trying to balance that across the organization really begins to carry the weight of that, and it becomes quite significant. It becomes difficult to know what's the single point of truth, and what happens across most organizations is that there are Excel spreadsheets spread across everywhere going back and forth, and nobody knows exactly who has the latest version of that and when it's last been updated and so forth. So there's quite a bit of effort to pull that together. What we're going to be demonstrating is the ability to work within a system that is fully integrated across each of these platforms, including platforms like finance. We're going to be going a step beyond Xero and actually working with Business Central, which is quite significant, and Dan will get into that further as we get into the demo. What we have at humanIT, what we have done is we've actually pulled together a number of solutions that are built on top of each other that are able to kind of pull together capability to quickly release or empower organizations to be able to leverage the capabilities quickly and easily. Everything I'm going to be demonstrating today is stuff that you could actually build yourself if you chose to. there's a little bit of know-how, a little bit of experience that comes with what we have done here. However, you have the tools already within most of your subscriptions to be able to do everything we're talking about. What we'll be looking at, just walking through this slide, is Copilot is one of the significant things that's actually wrapping around everything within here. We'll be looking at the database is laying a secure centralized data at the very foundation. We've developed a very simple contacts or CRM application that just pulls in very basic contact and account information and is fully integrated with Outlook. But then layering on top of that is the ability to pull in email marketing, text marketing, real-time journeys, so marketing automation and engagement, which is quite significant, leveraging off the Dynamics 365 Customer Insights platform, which is extremely powerful. I'll show you in a moment. Layering on top of that is Power Pages, which is an integrated online. We have Power Pages is it's the integrated web portal. We have Donations Plus that we've actually built within there, within this whole solution that we'll be demonstrating. And Power Pages has the portal component and the web component that we'll show, and you'll get to play with a little bit. Power Platform connectors. What we have integrated in is a connection to Stripe as a payment processor, as well as a connection into Dynamics, into Business Central, which you'll see as well. So this is the environment that we're going to be looking at here, and I'm just going to switch over to my screen to begin to walk through. So this is Donations Plus, which is a combination of our Contacts Plus and Donations Plus, which has been pulled together. For those of you who have any experience working in Dynamics 365 customer engagement or anything else, you'll see the similarity. This is the Dynamics environment. It is referred to as Power Apps. And it allows us to customize and tailor specific solutions. It is very simple to use. We have built into the application and to the solution is the ability to change views. You can add columns. You can create your own views. You can filter the information. So very flexible, very easy to use. You can ask questions about it, which is starting to infuse quite a bit of the AI and quite a bit more that's actually there. If I go into a contact record, I'll just go into Charlie's. What we've done is we have very simplified screens that has the ability to collect contact information. Built into the application straight away is the ability to interact. You have a timeline that gives you the ability to track tasks, capture phone calls, emails. It is fully integrated with Outlook, so you can track your email conversations from Outlook, so you don't even have to come into this application. You can do it straight from Outlook, and it will link everything up to the record within here. And again, here you have, if there's a demo environment, so not a lot of content here, but if there were a long email trail, we can actually use Copilot that's integrated, does not require any additional licensing, and it will summarize all of the information, history from notes, through emails and everything else. So quite powerful. This is standard and just comes as part of the solution. We have very simple information. They can be collecting attributes. All of this can be extended and adding on additional fields and so forth. We have built in here is some very basic overview of the donations. So it is just looking at some summarizations of the transactions. So in this case, Charlie previously has given two different donations, one for $11, one for $22. And the processing. And what we were able to do is just simply roll those values up. And so at a glance, we can actually see where they are within that. We have the ability to create recurring payments within here. And so what we can do is I can come up here and I can actually add a bank account. So this is done securely using a PCI compliant connection through to Stripe. and to store that information. So if I wanted to create a bank account on here, we're using test accounts, obviously. So I'm just going to use this test account and add that into Charlie's record. And so that adds that. So now that's available for me to use. I'm also going to add in a credit card. So I will add in a credit card, again, using a test number. I'll add that into his record. And now what I want to do is I want to create a recurring payment. So Charlie actually wants to be able to give on an ongoing basis. He's going to get $50. And we're going to use one of those recurring methods. We'll use the bank account. So he's going to use direct debit within there. And we will set the recurrence. So we're going to make that active. It's going to be effective from today. And we will run that every one month. So it's actually 1 month. And the end date is going to be, we'll set that out a year. So he's got that in there. And we'll go ahead and save that. Set my end date. 6. And I will save that. So it's gone off and saved it. It will update, so I refresh in a second. It's now updated the next payment date. So it's actually set the next payment date for today. So we'll come back to that in a moment and show that. So this is the ability, very easily able to come in here and actually track information on contacts and so forth. When somebody gives a donation, we have clear visibility on those donors, which are actually extensions, they're contacts, but we know that they have given an amount. So we know that the lifetime giving is greater than 0. So we can actually segment them out specifically, and we can see very clearly who is given. We're also able on each of the individuals to identify what is their lifetime giving, what's the lifetime giving amount, what's the total number of transactions, what's the last donation amount that they gave, and so forth. So we can get details and information very quickly. We're also able to track information around organizations. We're not doing anything on the demo with that today, but I'm able to get all the information in there as well. Related to, so what most organizations will do is they will go through and set up a number of different campaigns and appeals to actually receive money, to receive donations and funds. What we've built into the platform is the ability to set up your own campaigns. So I can come into my campaigns list, and that will just show me all of the active campaigns that are in here. I can go into a specific campaign, looking at the details. I can set that up, know when it's been launched, and so forth. I can also come into a summary page of that for that campaign to see how is it performing. So there's a roll-up. These are the total donations, the count, and so forth. I can also get the individual donations. I can drill into each one of those just at a glance. So very, very simple ability to capture that information. Going into a campaign plan, this is giving me a bit of a view of the information and how it's actually what we've set up. I can see the images and so forth. This is where we pull in the web side of things. And so we have the ability to determine whether or not what actually appears on our websites to make donations. I'm going to go into this particular appeal, and it's currently in proposed stage and it's not being shown on the website. So if I go to the website, so this is our portal that's built with Power Pages, that is fully connected in. So the Power Pages will give you the ability to create a full-blown website that is quite nice, good looking and editable, fully hosted within the licensing. So this in a very affordable type of a licensing model as well. But I can go to my Make Donations, and these are the donations that are here that I've actually published already. If I go back to my environment here, I can now say this new campaign for Raise the Walls, lift the community. I can say I want this appeal now to be published. So I'm going to make it active, and I'm going to say show on the website. So this will automatically publish it to the website. It may take a moment for it to process or to propagate. I'll just give it one shot real quick. There it goes. So you can see it's automatically there. So again, some of the challenges is trying to publish this information. So this would typically require somebody to work with their web designer to actually create a special page. So now if I wanted to go into this this appeal, I've already gone in. I've added some what we call ask ladders, so specific items, and I can set that up straight within the application here. So I can give a description of the appeal, and then I can create these ask ladders. I can go in and edit them, I can change them, and so forth, and those get published automatically to the page, to the site, straight within here. So the way I can do that is I can actually set, so when somebody comes and visits the site, they can come in here and they can say, okay, I want a tool of the team, so it's going to outfit the volunteers. I'm going to set this for myself. So I will change that to my actual last name. And do the amount. I can go through and submit that. So we'll go through this a couple times with putting a few different people in here. So I'm just confirming my details through there, processing the next, and now I can put in my account details. Again, I'm using a test one here, and I'll just simply do pay now. So what that's going to do is that's going to come through and process. That processes the entire thing, and then it'll come through. It'll send me an email. To show you the email, I'm going to pull in a different user. So now I'm logged in as a different user coming in doing the same thing, and this is actually David Demo. We'll go ahead and we'll do a different appeal. David's going to come in here. He's going to do the credit ready. He's David Demo here in the amount. Through confirming that. Obviously using the same test information. We're not going to worry about saving that to the browser. And so he gets confirmation. Again, we can pretty this up, but it's confirmation of that being sent. But now if I jump over into David's email, he will have just received, actually another one will come in just a moment, but he will receive the email that has come through here. So this is actually tailored, specific. So here we go. This is the actual email. So it's Dear David, on behalf of Homes for Humanity, thank you for donating to Loans for a Brighter Future. So this is, I'll show you how that works, but this is pulling from what he's actually entered in and then pulling in the details. So again, what we see quite often is you have a separate donation platform, then people go and create their own receipts or a variety of different things, or they're disconnected. But if I now go back into my main system, I can come back in here and see donors. I can see David Demo. I can come into his donations, and I can see the last donation that he actually has given. And so the information is all connected up and linked in there. Might just do one last one, and then we'll jump into a little bit of I'll walk through a couple of things. Just this one last one. This is another demo. So this is Tara demo. So I'm gonna Tara's gonna actually refresh it because she doesn't have the latest. So she's gonna donate to this last one here. the paint and plant. And so she's going to do Tara. Demo. Go through and do that last bit. Before I walk through and do this whole thing, what I will do is I'll jump back to our database, and I'll show you that Tara actually does not exist in here. So she's not in our CRM at all. So now if I come back and walk through this, she's donating, giving the full amount. Feel free to use those numbers if you want. They're not going to go anywhere. Yeah, so no. So it's processing. So that's actually been done. So she's processed that. Now I'm going to jump back over to my my database. I'll refresh this. I'll just jump into the donors. Actually, into contacts. And here we go. We've got Tara demo. So what's happened there is when she's actually donated or she's on the web, the first thing we do is check to see does the contact actually exist. It doesn't exist, so create a contact. Once that contact is created, we then attach the transaction. So all of these steps are all combined. So again, just using the power of the integrated ecosystem and the ability to track all of that together. So just saving time and in a very secure fashion. So the last bit before I hand over to Dan, things we can do. So again, we've got the recurring payments that are in here. This can be run on a regular basis. So you can see it just continues to run. I set one of those up earlier. What I'll do is I'll just look at the recurring payments that are due today. So I've got one. Charlie Brown has one. I can actually go through and process that. Now. I'll process payments due. So that'll go through. And it'll actually run that through. But this will run on a regular basis, so that it will check every day to determine if there is actually a recurring payment that is due. And the payment schedules can be set up by you, can be set up and controlled by the users as they're going through. As we go into the website, there's the ability as well to set that up. So somebody can come in here and specify. They can choose to make the donation anonymous, and doing that, just giving the amount. If that doesn't bring their contact, it doesn't create a contact, doesn't save anything. It just allows them to go on to the next step, and they put in their credit card details, and then the processing of that and that anonymous donation. So just put in their details, that, and pay now. So that anonymous information will then come into so we look at our donors. I can look at my anonymous donors. And so we have we're connecting all of that in through an anonymous donor. So we can see all of the donations that are given by anonymous users. So we can group that together and have a view on that. So the last bit is I will jump over to, so part of what we've done is we've integrated in Customer Insights. So Customer Insights is the platform that allows us to do marketing automation, allows us to create emails, send out information, and so forth. So the email that John received was designed here. And so the email platform, what we can do is actually go in and create, for example, the donation receipt letter, and create very nicely formatted emails that we can pull in information. And so if I go in and edit this information, go. I'll wrap up real quick. So you can see here, if you're familiar with mail merge types of things, this is kind of mail merge on steroids. So it allows you to actually fill in information. The information is, so I can, if I were, for example, to put in a personalized field, I can pull in a personalized field from any of the contact records, but I can also pull from any information that is actually sitting inside my database. It's a little bit more advanced, and but this is something we can help you with. And so you have the capabilities built into your organization to do that. It's not difficult to do. It's just understanding where to find the information, but we can pull in information around the transaction. We can pull in information around the campaign or any detail. And so all of this is customizable and fully built in there. And so that's where, so Customer Insights allows you to create the emails. But in addition to that, we can also create segments. And so again, when we're looking at MailChimp and we're looking at those types of things, quite often what people will do is they're uploading information and creating lists within MailChimp. This allows us to create those lists in a dynamic way. So I've got these segments that are in here, and basically what it's doing is it's saying, for any donor that gives to the Build the Dream campaign, I want them automatically added into the segment. So at any time, I can send out a marketing campaign, marketing information out to people. To do that, we actually use journeys, and journeys give the ability to create detailed flows. So we can just send out an email if we want to do that. So like in this case, if we want to do a tax appeal type of an item, we can go and say we're going to use it based on a particular segment, and then we want to set some information, and then we can do a whole flow. So I won't walk through this in any detail, but we can do a whole series of information. These can be triggered. These can be based on a trigger. So when somebody submits a form on the website, it can trigger this. When a transaction is actually completed, and that's what we were doing with the email. When the transaction is posted, then that will actually create the post. Or kick off the trigger. So hopefully that helps. Gone through it very quickly. I'm just going to wrap up with one little thing that I'm going to allow you guys to do with us. So if you don't mind, while you're actually sitting there, I'm going to hand over to Dan in just a second. But if you wouldn't mind playing along, feel free to use your phone or whatever, scan the QR code, either one of them. Oops. Dan, you took the screen. I might share that again. Actually, my screen just blinked out. There we go. Let's go back to that. Sorry about that. We will just try that one more time. So go ahead and scan the QR code as it loads here. Scan the QR code and fill out, give a donation. Use these numbers. So for the credit, if you want to use a credit card, do 4242 or 5454 all the way through. Expiry date, any date in the future. And the CVV, any three numbers in there. If you want to do the BSB and count, these are the BSB and account numbers. So I'll give you just a moment to do that. Dan, I'm going to hand over to you, and we'll just keep the screen sharing here just for a second. But if you want to cover Dan, there you are.
Yes.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the screen now. So if you haven't scanned, last chance to scan, go for it. All right, over to you, Dan. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, thanks, Andy. So what you've seen, I guess, to complete that picture is now that we've received some donations and there's a financial impact, then we want that to come through to the finance system. And so what we're showing here is Microsoft product Dynamics 365 Business Central. I'll call it BC. And with the standard connectors, Andy's been able to connect through from the Donation Plus, and then you have a real-time connection straight into Business Central. Now that would be configurable depending on how you want to see the data, but every entry that comes through, you'll see here a line will be created, and then behind the scenes, all of those campaigns and appeals will know what GL account and what's called dimension to code against. So this is where we get that analytical aspect. And then with Business Central, it has great power with allowing multiple dimensions, actually an unlimited amount of what's called these dimensions, which are like tags on these financial transactions that you can do reporting on. So the donation system is going to capture a lot of the income, but all the costs or expenses, that's something that will be in the finance system. And then you can tag or any transactions, any invoices with these codes, these dimension codes for the appeals and the campaign, and anything else relevant for reporting purposes. You'll be able to capture that information and then report on that and effectively be able to do a full like P&L by program and appeal and see that and see how that's performing overall. So that's, I guess, finishing that picture from the donation point of view. So you can see that. What I'll do is just step back just to explain a little bit what we're looking at. So what we're showing here is, so Microsoft Business Central, it's small to medium organizations. Typically it's when you're outgrowing something like MyOb, QuickBooks, Xero, where you need a little bit more sophistication, and certainly things around those dimensions that I just talked about is one of those that you can get that reporting and analysis. But also the main benefit is the connectivity around the other Microsoft ecosystem and the apps and extensions and how they all tie together very nicely. And then what I'll also touch on first is the Copilot and AI, and that technology has come into Business Central. So what you can do as a user with Copilot, that can help you get started, ask how to do things. So you can use it to explain, how do I do something, how do I create a budget, and then that will give you some information based on the docs site, and then it can also help navigate you through. So you can also ask questions on your data. So you could ask something like which supplier has the largest balance, and then it will scan through your system and then give you some information and hopefully answer that question, and then you'll be able to drill through into that a little bit more. Okay, so you can ask it things like this on your data. You can ask questions on, does it have, Business Central have certain capabilities? Does it have sustainability with carbon accounting? Which it does. So here we go. We've got to reply evolution business systems. We owe them the most. And then you can get a little snapshot and click into that straight into the card. And then you can see that information. And then you can drill into that balance if you like as well. While we're here, another Copilot feature that's new is summarize. So those using other Microsoft products may have come across this concept. It's just giving you this snapshot summary of, in this case, the supplier, how much we owe, how much, maybe how many invoices are in the system. So this can be used on anything, customers, vendors, items. So that can just give you a handy picture. So it has a summarized concept throughout the system relating to Copilot. You can also ask any questions like, how do I create a budget? And then it will go through the help guides. It may point you to a help topic that you can look at to get more information, or it might give you steps, and then you could keep this panel and then search and find those areas and follow the steps. So really helpful. Another aspect of other Office connectivity is something like Outlook or Excel. So with Outlook, you've got a connection directly back into Business Central. So you might have in this case, we have a question from our supplier to confirm the balance, okay? Or a question on invoices. Now, from an email like this, in this little section here, you'll see there's a Business Central icon. That's the Business Central Outlook add-in, and what that can do is it can open up Business Central inside Outlook. Okay, so in this case, we've got Mark here who's a contact against Evolution, so it knows the right vendor in the system, and it's using my access and my personalization of how I want to see certain information, and it's bringing up that card, and you can open that up a bit larger, but we might want to just see the balance, which I did, 33,000. I could open up a bit larger picture as well. Okay, so you don't have to leave your emails to get some of those questions. It's a takeaway there. So you can open up a customer vendor card like this. You may have a question on, have we received an invoice? And there's a document view functionality as well. So what that can do is if there's a reference to a document, it can try and find that for you in the system. And this has found this, and we've got an invoice. We can see information. We could expand that out to see a bit more information. So we're just confirming we received it, and in this case, we can see that that's the right number. Yes, we have. So I could reply to that email and confirm that. The other use that's quite common would be something like internally you've got approvals system. So there's a whole workflow engine in Business Central, typically for things like approvals, maybe a new supplier, purchase documents, where a manager will receive an email like this, like Andy, for example, and if Andy has the Outlook add-in, he could do a bit of a sneak peek with the document view that can show that invoice, and we might know what it's about, pending approval, and you could approve it straight from here. Okay? Otherwise, you could click on the link and take you straight in to the to Business Central to see the invoice. So we've got the connection with Outlook, Excel, the great connectivity with Excel. So you can dump anything, you can export to Excel, you can just dump the data, but there's also the edit in Excel option. So what that means is you can make bulk changes in Excel and publish that back into Business Central. So for example, if we wanted to look at the chart of accounts, do some changes, and we didn't want to have to do this one by one, we could use Excel as a workbook, make changes in Excel. You can even add new lines here, and then that would publish it back. So if we wanted to create maybe a few new balance sheet accounts, I could insert a new row. In this case, we have to give it an account number. Just give that new account, and maybe we can just copy and paste a few other values in there. So I'm not doing field by field. So I could add in, 10 more accounts if I wanted to, and then there's a connector back in from Excel back into Business Central, and that will validate all the data, so it won't accept anything that's not valid. And then if it all checks out, it will be successful, which it is. And if I go back into Business Central and refresh that, we'll see that new account. So we've got that connectivity straight from Excel to publish back into Business Central. The other connectivity options will be around Teams. So everyone, we're on this Teams meeting now. We've got a lot of collaboration in an organization. You can share a link to a record. Could be a transaction, could be a card like this. And you could share and publish that in Teams in a conversation. Okay? Or you could copy a link and just paste it to someone in Teams. And part of Teams, it has the ability to do a little card like this that gives a bit more information as well. So this could be based on a supplier or a customer. So I could put their message, can someone please check this account, check a few questions, send that to a channel or an individual, and then that would paste it, and then they'll publish that on Teams. And and there's also the ability in Teams to pin certain Business Central pages inside Teams. Right, and then there's also the option there of users who don't necessarily need a Business Central license to view some data directly in Teams. So you might have someone in marketing, let's say, that like to see a list of customers. They could do that with read-only access, just using a normal Microsoft Teams license. So there's possibilities there. So you got that connection from all the other Microsoft apps. Okay. So with the dimensions that I touched on earlier, so that donation information is getting tagged with these dimensions. We were using campaign codes and appeals codes. So you can maintain that list. This might come through from integration and automatically update when our donation system or any other client CRM related system could talk to Business Central and add in things like the campaign codes, appeal codes. But some values may start in Business Central, and the finance team can set that up. So anything that is needed for reporting, that will be used as a dimension. And then journals, purchase invoices, they will have that captured, and then it all comes back into the general ledger view, and then that can all be seen and reported on. So we looked at some of those donation accounts earlier. When we have a record come through, that's $800. That $800 is linked then to that appeal and that campaign or that department, cost center, program, anything else. Okay, so then you can bring that together with maybe some budgets in the system. You can compare the actuals to budget. You could use then another Microsoft product, something like Power BI. Now, there's a suite of maybe 7 different apps from Power BI that connect to Business Central. This one I'm just going to show here is the finance related app. So we're seeing financial related information. So it's a little bit on AR, AP, high level KPI information. So you can see some of that aging, and we're just getting some nice looking visuals using Power BI. If we're looking at something like that income statement, this is just an example of a month-by-month type report, and some of those accounts we saw before, we can also drill through into here. Okay. And there's a drill through functionality. So if I want to see what makes up that 2000, you could drill through and you'll see the detailed entries behind that. And then any of those donations that we're looking at before, potentially they'll have someone's name, could have the appeal and the campaign code too. So you can see all that from a reporting point of view in Power BI, and that can be shared throughout the organization. Whoever has a Power BI access will be able to view and run these reports. Okay. If I just go back a step, so the Business Central Wiz, this is the online SaaS version, so software as a service. So it's always maintained, updated by Microsoft. So there's new updates every 6 months, and then that means you're always up to date on a product like this. So it has a concept of what's called extensions. So you can think of it like little apps that you can add on top to extend the functionality. And a lot of these are already built from Microsoft. So they'll have their base system, but then, for example, they have a Shopify connector. So you might have an online store, and that can link through straight away into Business Central without any need for any additional integration work, because the connector's already there out of the box, for example. So as well as using tools like Power automates another Power Platform that we've touched on earlier, there is other connectors that potentially could link to other systems that will be available on what's called an app source, like a marketplace of apps. So there is a whole worldwide marketplace of different apps that you'll probably find if you're using a particular piece of software that would need to connect to a finance system, then there's most likely going to be an app. Okay, and another example of this would be Continia document capture. So there's apps around for OCR recognition, document capture, where it can scan a supplier invoice, read that information, and automatically bring that through. So that's an example of an app that can be in there that's capturing those expenses, and then maybe that can be also picked up anything relating to the donation related appeal or campaign expense related information that you can be setting and capturing on that invoice that comes through. So I'll finish up now to give time for any questions. So I'll stop sharing and hand back to Terry, maybe to bring up the slide. So yeah, feel free. I'm not sure if there was any chat throughout the session. So now's the time if anyone would like to raise their hand, or if they have access, or put anything in the chat on anything that you've seen from the start relating to the donations, or anything related to the Business Central.
David has asked if the recording will be available. He missed the start, so yes, that will be available. And we've also sent through a feedback form from humanIT, and they will, if we could get your feedback on this session, it is valuable to us that we're delivering valuable content. And yes, so please fill that out. And if you do want more information on Donations Plus or Business Central, we'd be happy to help. So please fill out that form. So Jason is asking about using PayPal for donations, Andy.
Yeah, there's no reason why couldn't do that. So we've done an integration with Stripe directly, so that the PayPal could work easily. It's just an API integration or the plugin within that. So yeah, absolutely, it's possible.
Awesome, thanks. Any more questions before we? If
you want to raise your hand, we can unmute you.
David's asking, can this integrate with other third-party platforms such as Fundraiser?
So the way that would work with Fundraising has its basically what we would do is pull the transactions in with the contact details. So using API, that would actually be able to pull in there. So obviously the payment processing would have already been done. So Fundraising would have been connected with Stripe or something along that line as well. What this would do is would pull in the transaction and associate that to the contact based on first name, last name, email address, or something along that line. But it absolutely can be done as far as that's concerned. You'd still be the fundraising information would be tracked and captured within fundraising. That would remain there. What we'd have to do is actually just get a trigger that once that's created, it would automatically pull that into the system. But absolutely is achievable.
Awesome, thanks. Well, with 2 minutes to go, if there are no other questions, just wanted to raise that humanIT are running a co-pilot session in the next month. And if you're interested in that, Ian has just popped the link to that in the chat. So if that's of interest, please go ahead and register. And yes, on that note, I'd like to thank our presenters, Daniel Argus from EBS and Andy Barker from humanIT. Thanks to Ian Patterson. And thank you all for attending, and hopefully we can help you maximise your impact.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.